King Charles hails the importance of alliances with the U.S. in a contested world during his toast at a White House state dinner. The king also gifts President Trump a bell from the HMS Trump submarine, which fought in the Battle of the Pacific during World War II. In Trump's toast, he calls the bond with the UK a friendship unlike any other on Earth. The dinner is attended by members of the Trump administration as well as notable figures from both sides of the Atlantic. Earlier, the king addressed Congress and said the UK and US partnership was more important than ever. He expressed the UK's highest regard and friendship with the US, and recalled when his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, addressed the same chamber in 1991. Lawmakers frequently burst into applause and ovations during a speech that mixes British humor with history and looks towards future challenges. The king closes his speech by saying America's words carry weight and meaning, and it prompts some muttering of agreement and concern from the audience, writes North American correspondent Anthony Searcher. How has the White House been decorated for the state dinner? We've also received details on the decor for the evening, which has been designed to reflect a shared appreciation for gardens. Reportedly inspired by the beauty of English gardens, we can see towering trees and blossoming garden boxes of lilac around the room, in addition to long tables laden with lush greenery. The tables themselves are set with hand-painted menus and more than 250 pieces of vermeil from the White House collection, alongside handcrafted ceramics by distinguished American artisans, including Ben Wolfe. Dinner will be served on both the Clinton and Bush China services. Now the speeches are over. The guests are enjoying the food at the state dinner, preparations for which were led by the First Lady. Here's what is being served. First course, garden vegetable soup, hearts of palm salad. Second course, herb ravioli filled with ricotta and morels, dressed in a Parmesan emulsion. Third course, Dover sole meunière, a pan-fried French fish dish, potato pave, spring ramps, snow peas. Dessert, flourless chocolate cake in the shape of a beehive, served with White House honey and ice cream. There will also be a selection of wines. King's gift to Trump emphasizes military alliances between two nations, published at 628. Sean Coughlin, Royal Correspondent. A golden bell from HMS Trump. Image source, PA Media. King Charles was able to give President Trump a very bespoke present, which also emphasized the military alliance. He gave him the original bell from a wartime submarine called HMS Trump. And should you ever need to get hold of us, well, just give us a ring, said the king. Published at 0627. Sean Coughlin, Royal Correspondent. Charles gestures during speech. Image source, Reuters. Canadians unhappy at President Trump's claims to make them his 51st state might have been pleased to hear the king get in a reference to his role as King of Canada. In sport, in just a few weeks, the United States and Canada will be among those to welcome the world as hosts of the FIFA World Cup. So, in one sense, Mr. President, as heads of state, we are joint hosts, the king reminded his host. Trump's address included a couple of diversions, published at 0623. Sean Coughlin, Royal Correspondent, Rory McIlroy. Image source, PA Media. The state dinner is an elegant sight, chandeliers hanging down, tables filled with candlelight and flowers. President Trump delivered an address about the long historic ties between the US and Britain. He took a couple of diversions, wanting to praise Rory McIlroy, who is a guest and stands to take a bow. Then he mentioned the war in Iran, and said how important it was to stop them having an atomic bomb. But it returned then to a warm address praising his royal guests. King wraps up with Boston Tea Party joke, published at 0619. Charles and Trump talk while holding glasses. Image source, Reuters. The king wraps up his speech by quoting a line from Shakespeare. At this time where the search for peace in the world is more critical than ever, I can only turn to Shakespeare's genius to remind us of the plea for peace, he says. The quote, "My speech entreats that I may know why gentle peace should not bless us with her former qualities." He thanks the president for the splendid dinner, jokingly calling it a significant improvement from the Boston Tea Party, a reference to rebels in the colonial U.S. dumping gallons of British tea into the harbor. The president and king raise their glasses, and the speech portion of the evening ends. King Charles gifts President a bell from HMS Trump submarine, published at 0616. King Charles says he is gifting President Trump a bell from the tower of the HMS Trump. a Royal Navy submarine that was first launched in 1944 and fought in the Battle of the Pacific during WW II. The king says during his speech, the gesture is a sign of the shared history and shining future between the two countries, and tells the president, "If you ever need to get hold of us, just give us a ring." The vessel's name is unrelated to the president, but Buckingham Palace said in a statement ahead of the speech that the bell was a symbol of friendship to mark this renewal. The statement also noted that the gift echoes the late Queen Elizabeth's gift of the bicentennial Liberty Bell during her visit to the U.S. in 1976. The king once again reiterates the importance of the NATO and AUKUS alliances to deepen our technological and military cooperation. To ensure that, together, we can meet the challenges of an increasingly complex and contested world, he adds. He also hails the role of a submarine, launched from a UK shipyard in 1944, that played a critical role during the war in the Pacific. Her name, HMS Trump, the king says. King includes a tale about Winston Churchill in speech, published at 6/11. The historic ties between the US and the UK are a key factor in the king's speech, and he's illustrated that with a humorous story about former Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who he says was half American and a symbol of transatlantic heritage. Indeed, such was the closeness that Sir Winston, while staying here in the White House, in those rooms you showed us upstairs, emerged naked from the bathtub to discover the door opening as President Roosevelt came in for a chat, the king says. He went on. With rapier wit, the president cast aside any embarrassment by declaring that the Prime Minister has nothing to conceal from the President of the United States.